because I don't I don't think DOS shows expected move directly. All right, let's go ahead and get started, everybody. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is August 4th, 2022. Happy Thursday to everybody, and let's take a look at what the market has in store for us today. Overall, the uptrend continues. Yesterday, we did break bullish on our bull flag configuration that the market was providing. A lot of people were kind of seeing those rejection candles, maybe starting to think a little bit more downside. We were staying kind of in line with our balance range lows. So that certainly was going to be a trigger if the market wanted to pull back deeper. Ultimately, we didn't do that, and we did push higher across most of the equities market. Wanted to note the expected move high for the week. It's still about 42.11. We'll be looking more at the balance range high for the moment, but ultimately, if the market continues this rally, we do have some upside targets for continuation. Shifting back into our SPY discussion, just real quickly, wanted to note the breakout structure from yesterday, getting over a couple of days worth of highs, obviously seeing that the market is still holding in a gap up open or a slight, it's actually kind of a flat open actually, sorry. And while I think a lot of people are maybe starting to hunt for bearish entries, the main thing to consider here is your risk profile. I think you can consider some bearish entries, even if the market's price is not really giving you follow through. The main purpose there is just to protect any sort of unrealized position in your portfolio. I've been talking about the idea of maybe grabbing hedges at this time. Volatility is extremely low. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, but a hedge really is not about necessarily timing your entry. It's more about having it when things change, typically when something hits the fan. So markets look overall structured well for their trend. Nice breakout yesterday. We'll be looking to see if we have to pull back in to our swing highs for support. That would be a sort of ideal back test for the market, coming back into about 413.50 approximately. And then, of course, as we look at our upside here, we're probably going to continue driving towards that balance range high on continuation. Now, not to say that this is our final target, but I'd be extremely cautious looking for more upside here, because if we look back at the NASDAQ, whenever we did achieve this balance range high, and this was back in, I think, a couple sessions ago. Let's see, that would have been, actually, no, we did have a breach here. So actually, I'm kind of backstepping a little bit. But let's take a look at what occurred here. We got to our balance range high, which would have been this sort of pivot area. We had a lot of up thrusts going on at this time, but if you notice the structure here, this is a 4-hour candle. So there's a period of time where the market actually broke through, expanded, and then pulled back in all the way to about 311. So it was quite a deep pullback that actually broke the low of that breakout candle. So whatever session that was, I believe that was Monday this week. It's interesting to see that the market can actually hit these targets on how extended this rally seems to be. But be aware that even after achieving it, the drawdown can be quite heavy. This might be, once again, that opportunity to consider little bit more of a bearish approach to the portfolio construction, and obviously grabbing good prices for any sort of market pullback. Now, of course, the NASDAQ has pushed much higher since then. We've broken bullish on yesterday's session as well. And so far, nothing big picture looks inaccurate. The trend is still continuing in the bull's favor. The thing that most people are cautioning for right now is just the overreach. Usually when trends expand like this or extend, you often want to see them come back in. And with most trends, you start to form trend lines on pullbacks. Anywhere where the market pulls in and then makes a new swing high, you're marking those lows as your demand zone. And if the market ever pulls back in, you expect a reaction to occur there, ideally holding your trend structure. What happened yesterday is potentially a little bit of a warning that this is getting overextended. And that's when you start to see milder pullbacks, which at the moment is registering as strength, but it can certainly lead to a lot of poor structure in the future. Usually when this occurs, we accelerate our trend line a bit, and until that trend line breaks, bulls obviously remain in control. But if that trend line breaks, we often come down to our lower bounds. And sometimes it can be as aggressive as coming to the, I would call it like the primary trend line, the one that actually stabilized the uptrend or the downtrend. So be a bit cautious chasing this rally. If you're in position on this rally, it's been obviously advantageous for a bull. Doesn't mean we're ready to go bearish yet, but be aware of the risk profile. We're certainly looking at a market kind of in its final potential phase of movement to the upside. And from there, we'll be scouting more of a profit-taking event and potentially that pullback back to our trend line supports. So that's going to be true for both the NASDAQ and the SPY. Been also looking at the IWM for a little clarity. This has been a strong recovery across most indices, but this one actually hasn't quite broken out of its highs yet. Similar to the SPY, it's getting to that very clear upside target. And whenever we get here, I would expect a little bit of profit taking to facilitate a pullback across most markets. Just not sure exactly which one will hit first. Probably looking at the SPY a little bit more closely. But it's notable here to call out the recovery percentages. We're talking about, at least from low to high, about 17% recovery. This has been basically one of the strongest recovery months for the market in quite a number of years. There's been a couple of metrics. We've had like 2020 readings that have been much stronger, but at least from a July month recovery, it's been one of the best Julys in a long time. So we have a couple of earnings that have come out. Most of them are within their expected move. We have stocks like Lucid, which did have about a $2.50 expected move, closed at about 20.5, kind of opening at about 17, 18 at the moment. Definitely looking for this one to potentially break down on the weaker earnings, but so far it's kind of holding in this range. We might want to see if this picks up later today. We could be looking for at least a couple of dollars of downside. We had stocks like, let me get my list here. Sorry about that. We had Marathon Oil. Really not doing too much in the pre-market at the moment. But the market did price about $1.50 of expected movement, kind of a muted response so far. Another oil name, Apache Corporation or APA Corporation. I've always called it Apache. And I think think this one had a pretty mild expected move as well, about $1.80. I'll just call it $2. A lot of these haven't really moved too much on this earnings reaction, so this is one to maybe keep on your secondary, see if some volume comes in. We had eBay. This one actually moved quite well on its reaction, but you'll notice that we pulled all the way back into our close. eBay was pricing about a $3.50 expected move from 50. See if that's accurate. That looks a little, yeah, that's accurate. About 350. They spiked it up to about 55. That's a little outside of expected move, but we've already pulled back in. So once again, it's kind of hard to trade these without too much of a bias. And when a stock's trading at those big psychological prices, it can be quite hard to get directional until the market moves away from it. You can often get kind of stuck at psychological prices whenever there's no volatility. We had Fastly. This is one that's been really beaten down ever since its all-time high. One of those 90% plus drops in the market. You know, all-time high of about 136. We traded down to about 10. So a lot of people are kind of assessing, you know, potentially some pent-up demand on oversold names, maybe ones that are offering a little bit more upside than the risk at these prices. But you can also see the type of volatility readings we're getting. This is massive IV. And for a $13 stock to price a $2 move, you know, that's about 8 to 10% of movement in the course of one earnings session. So it's quite a lot to deal with, even from a percentage perspective. So 250 expected move, approximately at 13. Yeah, about 250. Let's see if we moved it. Yeah, we got up to 15. We pulled back in. A lot of these names, unfortunately, are not giving us a lot of edge this morning. We'll need the market to move them appropriately. And then there was one that was pretty interesting that was brought up by the chat. This is DDOG. This one actually did move quite a bit. Might have a little bit of volatility for us to trade. But once again, 112 close in the market. We went down to about 100, and the stock is pricing about a $12 expected move. You can price out the straddles from yesterday. They're about $12. So market is showing that the expected move has been kind of the driving force of earnings this particular season. There hasn't been too many stocks that have really breached expected move. And if they have, it's been done after the fact. It hasn't really been done during the earnings reaction itself. So as big as this drawdown looks, the market actually anticipated this size. And this is not out of bounds of what the market expected. But it is notable because it's still about a $12 drop from the close. So, okay, so that's pretty much all we got today. There's maybe a couple more that reported. Someone's asking for FTFT. Make sure that's right. Yeah, FTNT, sorry. FTNT. So it looks like this one did report slight beat. Unfortunately, no option market here for me to assess. So there's no real major edge I can give outside of an August series, which is a couple of weeks away. That's typically why we don't look at every single earnings name. Obviously, whatever is moving in the stock is going to drive it intraday. Looks like this one had a pretty significant drawdown. However, you know, the option market there is not going to tell me that information. So it's just a bit harder to do any assessment. Okay, so I'm going to start going through the chat suggestions for tickers, YouTube as well. Maybe put up a couple. I'll see how many I can get through, and we'll go from there. All right, so first on the list is Intel. Let's see, Intel reported earnings. We have a dividend coming up, so just be aware of that. You get a small price adjustment with dividends, so you have to pay that out. It reflects in the stock price, but that's usually rectified within a day. It's usually rectified before the market even opens. Intel did report a couple of sessions ago. We've kind of stabilized around here. We haven't really lost the low of the earnings day. That's a good sign. That's very short-term kind of support for now. I would also argue that we never closed below the swing low. All of this activity right here is false lows. There has been no closure where the market said this pivot low is broken. All we've done is breach a couple times. Historically, if I'm looking back, is this an area of strong interest? Maybe on like a weekly, it could be. The monthly lows are a little bit lower, and there might be like a structured pullback on the weekly here to kind of showcase this area. But overall, this is still kind of a bearish chart. The intraday is bullish, or maybe the short term can be a bit bullish, but it's still a bearish chart, big picture. You want to be thinking about the potential of this range breakdown. This is a big range for Intel to have lost. This is a loss of range, and the downside potential here. We haven't even made it to the 200 yet on the monthly, so there could be some more downside on this one. Obviously, time will tell, but I would say short term, you're looking at a false low. And, if we can get some volume back to the upside, this could easily kind of trade within a couple bucks for a couple days. But I wouldn't be doing any sort of gap fill trade on this quite yet. You need more information. FTNT. So I looked at that one a little bit, Jeff. I don't have a lot of edge except for maybe the breach of lows here. So I'd be looking at your support zones that were placed if you wanted to trade this one intraday. The earnings breached it, but it never broke it. So it's tough to trade it here, because if I wanted to short, I'd have to be shorting towards this target first. I couldn't go lower because it's never gone lower. If I wanted to play it bullish, well, what's my level of support? Where can I expect bulls to defend? That is a little lower right now. So this area is kind of hard for FTNT. Might not really be super tradable except for a very short term, like 5-minute, 15-minute kind of trend. All right, BABA. Let's look at BABA. So I would argue the highs and lows are pretty much set on the stock. There's arguably a little bit of a trend line here as well. If you're using the swing low, you're not going to get good connection. So that's why it's arguable. But if you draw it up a little bit, it's close. I don't like dealing in close trend lines, but we are seeing a reaction here. So for now, I'll abate that discussion. We had a reaction bullish off of that rough trend line, and we're already back at 100. We've also filled the gap. Whatever gap down that occurred here, it's been filled. So the question is, should we short it or should we buy it? I need to see a little bit more information, and I think intraday, this could even draw down a little bit. We broke the 200 hourly, at least for now. I want to see this one actually hold. So intraday, I don't know. Trading BABA around 100 is hard. I'd rather see BABA be away from those prices and then push it back in. So like, this gap down, this was a breakaway. This was a bearish day. This was a stall day. Maybe don't trade it. This was a day where it broke the previous high. It's more bullish. Another sort of continuation day. Those concepts allow us to trade intraday quite cleanly. The rest of it is up for the market to kind of stall out. And for BABA, I think we're at a price that's more stall inclined. So not a lot of edge in my opinion on that one, although I would watch it. I mean, it's worth watching for any volume. I just don't think it's at a good price to trade. Melly. So this one had earnings. $74 expected move. It's a higher price stock. So usually these are off by 10, 15 points. Not a lot of option trading yesterday. Doesn't mean that this is not an accurate expected move. It just means that it's less powerful. You know, the readings are going to be less powerful. Closed at about 890. So what is an 890 straddle going for yesterday? About 72. I'm going to just call it 75. Mid strike would be about 75, mid price. So did it move 75 points? It moved more. It actually broke its expected move. So this one kind of is reminiscent of like Chipotle, where it actually broke its expected move. What does that mean? It means that for now, this is bullish. It also means that from a technical sense, we're starting to really expand here. There's a couple of issues with the bullish trade. It's coming into the 200. It's still one of those stocks that's on recovery right now. If we go bullish on this thing, I'd ideally like to see it set up close to 1,000 and then continue its flag pattern. So, you know, this one for now is bullish. Is there a lot of volume and open interest at 1,000? Not really. 1,050 is heavier technically on the call side. So, you know, just to be able to set up a trade, I would need a pullback. It would need to basically confirm support. And then of course, 1050 would be a target if you're even going to trade it at all. So, but to explain that from the expected move and option market perspective, that's what I'd be looking for. I'll look at a firm and then I'll probably switch over to YouTube a bit. So a firm is similar to what we've been looking for in some of these sort of like oversold plays starting to break their weekly highs. Yesterday was a day of reckoning for a lot of shorts. A lot of these growth names are starting to break out. And from a technical sense, this looks fine. You know, it's breaking out. I don't see any issue with the trade yesterday. It was very stable to the upside. I was looking at this one along with Upstart. These were both bullish stocks in play. Upstart has a lot more work to do, but I had a thesis closer to the absolute low prices, and we're seeing some follow through here where we're also seeing volume. So will they continue? I have no idea. Ideally, they need to expand further. The objective of a breakout is to go as far as possible, stably, to basically move away from your accumulation range as far as possible. That way, whenever you start to pull in, ideally on a stable pullback, you're going to back test your range. So on a breakout right now, we have to trust the breakout. It can be a head fake, but until it loses that pivot, it's not. It's a breakout. So you can't assume the opposite side of the trade until this move is over. And for now, I'd say this is a pretty stable looking breakout. It's reattached to the 20. It pulled back in from the previous test. And so far, you know, we're not seeing bearish volume come in. If that happens today, that would be a trade back inside the range. If it went bearish at all today, that would set up the head fake trade. So you just trust the trade that's in front of you until it fails you. And then you look for the counter trade. It's really simple in that way. You know, is it a breakout? Yes or no? This one's yes. AMC. I definitely would be watching this one today. Similar concept. We're coming into the 200 major rejection point. AMC pretty much always stalls out at the 200. So does this one have more room to go? Yes. Is it going to make it there today? It looks like it's trying. Would I trade it bullish aggressively once it got to about 21? Absolutely not. On a day like today, if it makes it to 21 or the 200, I would basically cut my bullish position. I wouldn't necessarily short it, but I'd be basically saying the risk is too high, because days like that are typical for the stock. So looks good today, looks strong. Definitely going to be looking for bullish entries for now. All right, so let's see what YouTube's got. How is Crocs down? Appreciate the shirt comment. So, okay, Crocs reported earnings this morning. Okay, so another recovery stock. A lot of stocks have been making, over the past couple of weeks, we've seen 50% plus recoveries on stocks. You know, this is another great example of an beaten down stock just starting to change sentiment. You know, people are a little bit bottom fishing. We're seeing uptrends start to form off of lows. This one's also got those same signals. There's some big volume signals that basically establish low end ranges. This one maybe was a little bit harder given, you know, we did have a little bit more downside, but ultimately the trend change tells you that the market sentiment is changing. Run up into earnings. No option market for me to evaluate, although it is heavily traded. You know, there's a lot of volume for no weekly series. Over the next 2 weeks, market was pricing about $12 of volatility. Looks like a lot of the hedging occurred here. You can see the size traded in this series. And let's take a look at the reaction. So the argument here is the trend was pretty extended. I mean, yesterday was kind of an overreach. We got elevated, we pulled back in. Looks like that's about a $12 move. So this is roughly what the future option series is pricing. That movement, I would kind of use that series as a guide, because that's where all the open interest is. It's not going to have the same power as a weekly series, but it is the only information we have. It looks like they pulled in to, they really didn't pull into any level that I can identify. Even being conservative here, something like previous swing lows, there's a little bit more to go. So if this rally is over and we're starting to pull back in, I would anticipate a pullback into these swing lows, about 66.50. So a little bit of a bearish signal, given that we've overextended and have now broken trend short term. Let's see. Not sure how you trade. First time in chat room. Oh wait, let's look at Tesla. A couple people have asked about Tesla. Short term, this is a tough spot for Tesla. It's a 200. We have a close above it yesterday. So this is technically invalidating this rejection for now, although we have not broken the high. We rejected off a moving average, and yet we've closed above. So I'm cautiously optimistic here that we're actually going to expand a little higher. So far, it looks like we have in pre-market. So we've already mildly breached that pivot candle that was kind of cautionary. How much more upside does Tesla have? I would argue that it's really hard to tell because of the range expansion. Come on. This is where we broke out from. We've hit our first target. 200% would be somewhere around 950. So if I'm a Tesla bull, I'm probably going for a little bit more I'm looking at about 950. After that, from a technical perspective, the range trade is over. The breakout's over. It doesn't have to pull in at that point. I'm just saying that I would have no idea what the target would be at that point. So I'd be looking bearish. I'd expect bulls to give up their profit and basically look for bearish entries. So this one looks good. Expansions are powerful. For now, though, understand that the upside from the range is kind of limited. And that's the trade we're working with right now. This is a range that compressed into a pennant-like structure, and then it broke bullish. So, okay, I'm out of time, unfortunately, so no more tickers. Y'all trade safe today. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. As always, Carlos and Peter, I believe, will be joining us, and we'll go over some levels for intraday trade. So, as always, appreciate everything, and we'll talk more next week.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. Again, apologies, you guys, for the scanners this morning. I still have not received confirmation this thing is working, but we are working on it. And the minute we do, we'll be able to share these scanners back with you. So that's why the gap down and the gap up lists are empty this morning. But I can give you a quick snapshot of what we have right now by looking into our, oh, sorry, the volume for the chat room was not on. Can you guys hear me okay now? Yes, confirmation is good. Thank you, guys. Dave from Connecticut, good to see you. Rasila, good to see you as well. Let's hop in here. So here's what the scanners looks like right now. We got a couple of things in the green, couple of things in the red this morning. So not a short lease by any means. A couple of stuff here that we know off the top of our heads don't trade very well, but we will go through this. But the big talk is, and we've been having this conversation with many traders I spoke with yesterday. Already mentioned that this morning today, is just how the rally of this SPY has been, guys. So if we come over here and look at the SPY, A lot of us, myself included, did not think this rally was going to be so strong from July carrying into the early days of August here. So it's been pretty good. This, of course, is carrying a lot of stock on its back as well. And we saw that especially yesterday with the day that it had, right, breaking out of the previous highs that it had a tough time getting above right in here. Breaking out of that, you saw stocks like Meta, although Meta had an incredible day yesterday, very early on. But many stocks, AMD, Apple, American Airlines, which again was one of the swing trades I took on this one. And unfortunately, the mentality of a short, still of a stock selling off is still in my head here. I got out way too early on this trade from the bottom of like 1370, 60 or so. But again, just to mention, Jared had mentioned earlier too about how many shorts are paying the price right now because this rally is pushing higher than what we expect. And I have the same mentality, but that's what caused me to get out of my trade, right? Perfectly good trade, right? So that mentality is definitely across the board there. All right, guys, with that said, let's take a look at our gappers list this morning. I'm going to be looking at the list over here in the chat room. Once in a while, I'll switch over. So over on YouTube, you can see what we have going on. Let me make sure I can see my YouTube chat here. There we go. So good morning to you guys as well. And then we'll do it that way. It takes us a little bit longer than having it right on my screen, but that'll be good. Good enough for now. Also, as we get started, guys, hit that thumbs up over for Jared. Engineering the Markets, giving you just an amazing overview of how things are going. Macro information there on everything. Options, edges, if if this can be an edge on the option stuff that he looks like. So really appreciate that there. That he does every Monday through Thursday. All right, with that said, guys, let's hop into the stocks from yesterday. Let's take a look here at PayPal. That was one on the top of our list this yesterday morning, and it had gapped up pretty nice here, guys. Really nice pop on PayPal. Let's go ahead and take a look at the action. A lot of it happening during the earning, but you saw some really good opportunities in the intraday yesterday, pre-market as well as the intraday. So a beautiful sell-off here. You do get going nicely above the moving averages, and for a minute there, you actually think this thing is probably going to break out of the 102. It was very strong. The issue this thing had, and you got to keep this in mind, is that it already had gapped up pretty big, right? So you gotta keep in mind there are some people that are going to be taking profits as they start getting into that green territory. Who knows how many traders, investors are holding this from when things started heading south, right? Not expecting things to drop so much. So you see that hits 102, and then from there sells right back down to the low of the day. Cannot hold the low of the day there at 99.88, and then drops even further. So very clean morning for PayPal. It did continue and trade very well after that also, as far as dropping back to the low of the pre-market. Then from there in the afternoon, it was just all chop, right? It was basically tired from all the up and down that PayPal had done all day there. So that was PayPal yesterday. Here we have Meta. Meta was strong early on, guys. Pre-market, we started to see a little movement around 8:15. We spoke about this in the pre-market show yesterday, and then at the market open, a little sell-off before the market, and then just the pop here going right to that 164.51. And again, I don't know how many times I'll tell you this, guys. These breakouts at a pre-market high, this is why we put down the pre-market high, because these breakouts are really, really good. And you can see that there. It comes right to that. Does give you a nice pullback on that same candle. The next 5-minute candle takes off and really never looks back. And a lot of opportunity here, guys. You got an ABCD pattern for me here. Another bull flag for me. There's just so much opportunities there. And as I mentioned before, usually when you have a strategy, when the stock is trading well, when the stock is trading very well and trending like this one, has volume, has good movement, you usually can find more than one opportunity, more than one strategy in here. So that's definitely plain to see there. Another break of high today. I mean, Meta just had it going on yesterday. So a great stock for us there. I unfortunately took a nice trade on that one. Could have made more, but that's okay. That seemed to be the theme yesterday for me, at least. I got out too early on a lot of my trades. Here's SoFi, guys. SoFi, I'm not a big fan of it. I had it on my list because they had a good pre-market activity. They were moving, but I am really not a big fan of it. So I didn't pay much attention. I'll tell you that much. So I was busy with other things that I think looked much better. But not bad. Not a bad start without knowing what the price actually looked like. It seemed like it was decent. Again, not a big fan. AMD, guys, breaking out here of the pre-market highs. It's just a beautiful pop. And we spoke about AMD coming back, right? If we look at the daily, We know AMD had this huge drop here, and then it recovered yesterday. That almost that entire gap down, right? Pretty close to it. But this thing was just on fire. Unbelievable how great AMD was. And we're back to the levels that we were trading at just a few days ago before this gap down. So incredible that it was able to really get going in that sense there. Here's Apple. Apple, another beautiful day. And what we loved about Apple was this daily here that Wei was setting up and how it could possibly trade. And yesterday it did just that, right? Just so strong yesterday, breaking pre-market highs. And man, this stock, this was the FOMO stock for me yesterday. Just look how great this thing took off. Very strong all day long. Around the afternoon parts, the last 2 hours, 3 hours or so, not so much. But man, this was pretty nice. All right, here we have Amazon this morning. So Amazon as well traded very good yesterday. Again, today they're seeing a little bit of volume as well. So we will definitely be watching that one also. All right, guys, that is what we had yesterday. It was a good day. So many things to watch. You could have done a couple of things there and done very well. Good morning, Carlos. Mike, what is the new mRNA sleeper call for today? We'll see. Yes, mRNA, guys. I called this as the sleeper, right? It was quiet pre-market, but the daily was looking very well, and so many of you guys took advantage of this pop here. It just took off, guys. A 5 minute there it goes, hitting 173, and then from there it goes all the way to 188. It just had that look, right? It had the look as, hey guys, I'm not looking great right now, but if anything happens, if I get just a little bit of fuel, I'm gonna take off, and it did just that, right? And we don't get it right every time, but we got it right on mRNA yesterday, and many of you guys took that opportunity. So excellent there. Carlos, what are the macros releases for today? I think that's a great question for Jared. He kind of went over that already this morning. Now, if you missed, if you're waking up a little bit later, you do have the YouTube that you can go back on and catch up. But I know how tough that is because you want to keep up with what we're discussing now than to go back and review. But if you want to get an idea of some of the stuff he's talking about, that'd be the best way to do it. Carlos, where can I sign up for the sleeper list of the day? Tips of the day, right here, my friend. You're signed up already. It's part of your BBT membership. All right, excellent. A couple of questions. You guys are very active today on YouTube. Thank you for that. And in the chat today, a lot of questions, a lot of comments, and very nice. Great way to start the day. Any other gap and go trades? The one I like was Baba. Baba is amazing when it can be. I don't know what it did. Yes, I did not have it on my list, so I didn't quite like the setup so far there. The stylists from yesterday were all good. They're all traded great. Yeah, yeah, they did hater. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. And not hater as hating, but hater as your name. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing correct. I'm horrible with names. But yeah, part of it, guys. Part of it is this right here. Is this guy. You see this guy right here, SPY. When it starts trending like this, you're gonna have stocks that have been beat up quite a bit. And look at the names, right? Obviously PayPal was earnings, but Meta, AMD, Apple, Amazon, they all crushed it. And it's this guy right here. When this guy's doing well and you have stocks that have been beat up quite a bit, it's a sign of of strength. And on top of that, let's look at the daily. And again, Jared talked a little bit about this morning. This breakout here for the SPY was big. This is big because I and many others, I'm sure, thought, hey, we're coming back down to test 390, right? Because that's what we've seen over and over again. This breakout here yesterday was pretty big. And once it looks so strong like that, you're going to have a lot of things that are going to move very well. So I see AMD was a good one for you guys. AMD paid the bills yesterday. Yep. Very nice. Excellent. All right, let's take a look at what we have on our list this morning. What is some of our low flow stocks? Varax, that's no fun no more. HZNP was another one that gapped down big. And I haven't looked at this one today. What is HKD doing today? So HKD right now, you can get in for spread's not bad. Spread is $40. I think yesterday was about $600 a spread, so not bad today. Not saying you should consider trading this thing at all. Guys, this is pure garbage. Be very careful. All right, gappers list today. Let's take a look at what we have here. We're going to Control A, Control X. We're going to remove that. And let me see. Is Norm okay? Because Norm usually, he's pretty good about letting us know if something's up. So hopefully he's all right and not having lost power or anything. But I haven't heard from Norm this morning, which is... unless we misschedule a day off for him. I want to just make sure my buddy's okay here. Hold on a second, guys. Checking my messages. I haven't heard from Norm today. Somebody, one of the moderators could reach out to Norm, make sure everything is good there. Oh, okay, got it. Oh man, him? Oh, okay, all right. I see what's going on there. All right, so Norm won't be joining us today. All right, cool. All right, I was not aware. So okay. I get worried about my partner in crime over there. All right, good guys. So let's go into CCXI this morning. I must have missed a message over in the chat, in our team chat. All right, so CCXI this morning up 109%. Wow, very nice. 109% up this morning. They are 2.4 million. Looks horrible. It looks like a buyout. So if somebody wants to check quickly, I could use your guys' help with Norm's row there. It looks like a buyout though. Does not look like a whole lot of fun. So I'm going to be skipping that one. Next, we're looking at GBT. GBT this morning, we are GBT. Hold on a second. GBT. There we go. So GBT up 31.7. I don't like the pre-market action already on this thing. 223,000 so far, and I am just not seeing anything great on this. So I'm gonna skip on it, guys. Looks very, very choppy for the most part. It's just not a whole lot of volume. And if you look at the daily as well, they don't get great volume. Today we're doing a quarter of the volume that they do on a regular basis. So a day like today, you might see more action out of it. But for the most part, not a great trader. Not based on what I'm seeing right now. Let's head on down to THRY this morning. Oh, horrible! Just a block trade of 650,000. Nothing happening there. So yeah, let's move on from that. So no good there. BC, man, a lot of garbage on the top of our list this morning. BCRX. BCRX. No. Wow, we are starting the list today with some no's here as we're going through this. Let's go down to the next one. Low flow, 2.5 million shares float here. No, brutal. No volume. Again, if you're going to be a low flow, you got to give us volume. And we're not seeing that right now with mods. So move on down to run. Let's see if run is running. Let's see what run is doing here this morning. And no, this thing is not going anywhere. It's no volume. It's up 6.7. So yeah, that's brutal. Let's head on down to something better, hopefully. Okay, here's one that we might like. Is Baba. So let's see what Baba. Oh, yes. Yeah, here we go. Up 6.2, 3.1 million shares traded. That is nice. I definitely like Baba this morning. Looking very good today, guys. So nice gap up. What's the news on Baba? We're gonna have to go to our trading terminal here and see what is going on with Baba today. Is it earnings? Yes, I think it's earnings if I'm not mistaken. I want to believe they had earnings coming up this week because this is one that we were looking for. But I thought earnings were. Oh, okay. They have earnings in the morning. I thought earnings were going to be after hours on Thursday. But yeah, earnings here, guys. Earnings, they beat nicely. And man, look at the action we're getting on Baba right now. So definitely on our list. Again, I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing this. I like Baba in a certain way, and that is when there's a gapping up for a possible sell-off. But today's not that day. You don't want this gap up for don't start going short on this gap up because this is different. This is on a big catalyst on their earnings, so a whole different ball game. If you notice the gap ups that we have shorted with Baba have been one that pop up, they go sideways for a little bit here, kind of chopping around, and then they just kind of start dwindling down, and then at the open it's a beautiful sell-off, right? This is not it right here. This is definitely not it. That's looking very nice, very strong this morning, so we'll be looking out for that one. All right, next PDD. PDD today. What's going on with PDD? Okay, so this morning PDD, it is it's got a nice pre-market activity. Again, I don't like the way it moves at times, but yeah, Fias, unfortunately my gappers list, my account expire at like a few days after being activated. So we're looking into why that happened. So we'll get it going as soon as we're able to. But we do have scanners in the chat room. Let me give you a snapshot of what that looks like so you can see it now. So if you're over on YouTube, you're going to take a quick screenshot. You could do that so you see what's happening right now. And then I'll show it to you again a little bit later so you guys have access to it. But that's what we have right now. So far, we have gone through all of this here and just a lot of garbage in here, guys. Nothing to really see for the way I trade. So we're at PDD now. We'll go through all these and then we'll look to see what's gapping down today, which again, looking at these names, 1, 2, 3, just the names alone, 625,000. Tablespoon here with always on our list. That doesn't look fun. That does not look fun at all. So we'll see what kind of action we can pull off of that. So Baba so far on the list right now. Earnings pre-market looking very nice. Here, PDD looks interesting, guys. I like what's happening there. Sympathy play Baba for PDD this morning. Okay, I like the way they're moving today. So I'm going to put them as a possible. Baba, obviously the one to watch. They got the volume this morning, but PDD not looking so bad. NVO today. Let's look at NVO this morning. NVO, here it is. NVO so far. No, this is no good. 5.1. Look at it yesterday, guys. Dropping what, $14? Oh, the madness. Look at that yesterday. It's just hanging out here, and just something happened at 10, and this thing just took a big drop, never recover after that. So it just doesn't look good, guys. This is probably not going to trade well today. Let's move on to something. I hope to find something better than that. AMC did well yesterday. Actually, didn't expect that, but you could have so many other stocks that did very good this morning. They're up another 5% with some decent volume, though. Now they're going on a 4-day green streak here. If they can hold today, that is looking pretty nice, and not just any regular 4 days. You're moving pretty well here on AMC. Again, I didn't look at the intraday action yesterday, so I can't tell you how clean that was or not. But so far, looking pretty interesting. Let's add AMC to the list. Excuse me. Now, it can become a little extended now on the daily, right? So now things can get a little funky. I don't expect to have another green day like we're seeing here. But again, nevertheless, you do got some good volume on this thing. Pre-market is moving very well, up 5%. Heading down to AAWW. This sounds scary already. AAWW. And it is, yes, it's very scary. Let's move on down to SE. That's another one that doesn't trade very well. So SE for the most part, not a good one for us there. C Limited. Then we have BP, which is, again, could be a hit or miss. They had earnings, was it yesterday? I believe they had earnings. So again, not a big trader. Billy this morning, they're up 2.5, not a whole lot of volume. And then you have gold here, which I really don't watch as far as intraday trading. But that's what we have, guys. A big list on our gap up list this morning. But again, not a whole lot looking good. You really only have a couple, which you have here. Baba, AMC, and PDD looking very nice so far. All right, see what's gapping down, starting with this troublemaker here, AMTD. AMTD gapping down 19%. Now the fun is over, my friends. Hitting 13, sold off. Opened up yesterday, gapping down. So, well, actually gapped up, right from 7 to 9, 850, and then sold off. And today, not gapping up anymore, selling down. Might be back at $2 before the end of the day. So again, just be very careful. We don't have shares for sure, but this is a very just scary ticker to trade, right? Very risky. It is a 35.8 million shares flow, but just be mindful if you're going to be trading that. Again, I don't see a play there without having inventory for sure. And if you can locate inventory, I guarantee you it's going to be very expensive because everybody wants to do the same thing, is to short that garbage stock. So finding inventory is going to be very difficult. I'm sure there are people holding on to that thing until it gets to $2 there. All right, let's see here. We have next KSPN. No volume, gapping down 17%, but not looking very good as a possible trader for us. Also low flow stock at 1.1 million, so we need a lot more volume than that. VB, this one here down 14%, 700,000. Also another low flow at 900,000 shares float. No, thank you. Moving down to Lucid today. See what's going on with our buddy Lucid here. See if there's anything good. I like the daily on Lucid here, guys. So Lucid at the moment, you can see a nice area of support there. We're kind of flirting with that at the moment. Down 13%, 2.5 million shares traded. Yeah, this is going to be on our list. I like it. I like that quite a bit there. So what's the news on Lucid? Earnings, release of numbers. What do we have on Lucid? I'm checking trading terminal now. I don't see I don't know what their logo looks like, so I don't know if they're on the on the earnings calendar. I don't know what their logo looks like, but oh, here it is. Yes, right there. So earnings last night. Today we're seeing a nice drop. So they did not like what happened yesterday. All right, so Lucid's good, guys. Down 12.8. 2.5 million shares traded. Definitely gonna have that on our list. Lucid had the losings last night, so big cut on guidance. Thank you, Tunde. I appreciate that. Um, all right, next over here, Lucid W. That's Wayfair. Wayfair, right? Yeah, Wayfair down 9.7. Wayfair's a hit or miss. It's one of these stocks that can be very choppy. It reminds me like a Shopify. It's just not as bad, just nowhere near as bad, but it can be very choppy, very light on volume. Possible. We'll come back to it. We'll give it a little bit. Here's D-Dog. A lot of you guys throwing this one over in the chat on YouTube. I see Metalman and a few others. Oh, it's Metalman twice, so he's excited about D-Dog. We'll look at that one. Oh, Anthony as well. Yeah, I knew there was some other people that threw D-Dog out here. So let's take a look at what's happening with D-Dog today. They're down 5.3, 986,000. I don't know what to tell you guys. I have not had any luck trading D-Dog. So I'm not a big fan of this one. It can move. I mean, this thing, the high of the pre-market today was 117. We're sitting at 98, and we're sitting at 106, and the low of this was 99, 98, 91. So you definitely got some big movement with some light volume, and that is just what I don't like. I don't like these stocks that can move, 10, 14, 15, $20 with just like 5 million shares traded, right? If you look at the action, it's typically very, very spready. And I'm just, the way I trade, I'm not a fan of that, right? So you got to be careful on D-Dog. It is definitely in play, guys. Hopefully today, right, where you already have 990,000 shares traded, which is looks like almost a quarter of what they trade here. Maybe today or not even more than that, actually. Maybe today could be a good day for them. Maybe today could be a good day for them. So yeah, let's put them on here. I might not keep them on my list though. Oh, they acquire a company. Oh, they did. All right, that explains the gap down. Okay, what did they acquire, by the way? D-Dog sounds like a rapper's name. Absolutely, absolutely does. So we'll see what D-Dog has for us today. All right, so we'll put it on there. They're definitely in play, definitely very active. Oh, look at coin here. You guys are calling this one out, up 6.5, 613,000. So this thing is ripping pretty nicely here this morning. News, guys, what's breaking out on coin today? Let's see what's happening there. Well, you guys look that up. I'll check over on our trading terminal as well and see what is the latest and greatest stuff on coin here this morning. Speaking of news, guys, today, 3:30, we have closing bell. And we are going, oh, look at Peter. Peter's here. Good morning, Peter. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I didn't want to interrupt you. You were handling it all by yourself, but I
I,
just got home, saw that poor Norm feeling under the weather. Thought I'd give you a hand if I could.
oh, no, absolutely. I don't know how long you was there. I didn't look over to the camera. So I don't know. I don't know how long you were hanging
Couple
out
minutes.
here. But
Couple
welcome, my
minutes.
friend. Welcome.
It's all right.
All right. So guys, yeah, so we're looking at a coin here. Coin is taking off. I don't know what the news is yet.
There's a
Just a layoff.
there's a partnership on Coin. BlackRock is one of the largest
Hmm.
investment
Yeah,
managers. Their fund manager. They've got a partnership with Coinbase, so that's what's
that
giving them
is
a boost.
that
Sort
is
of
that is good.
legitimizing what's happening there a little bit with
Yeah.
BlackRock taking a stake.
Yeah, but you put BlackRock's name on it, you're definitely gonna get some action on, and we're seeing that today. So definitely gonna throw them on here. Let's see what that what that means for coin as they're getting a nice name there to be tied into. All right, and next we have here where we left off in coin. Here's our gappers list for our friends over on YouTube. So we actually no, we left off with Wayfair. We did D-Dog. Let's got a few more. CROX. Let's look at that one here. CROX, Crocs.
So that's a earnings play. The only time you see Crocs is on earnings day. So four times a year, they beat their numbers once again. I guess people are still buying those. It's medical Crocs, which I
Yeah, yeah.
understand, and sort of industrial use that they're a lot of their business, and they're still seeing a boost in sales and earnings.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So yeah, so that they are down this morning 5.8. Very light on volume. This company, I usually don't trade them. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna keep them off my list because we even haven't got to our usual suspects yet, which we know is gonna be AMD, Apple, and the rest of the gang there that trades very well. So we have not even got to those. So I'm gonna keep this one off because most likely is if it is on my list, it's gonna end up falling off anyway. SIGA, I don't trade this one. I know many of you guys have taken opportunities before. I think it's a pretty difficult stock to trade, and I'm not seeing anything great this morning neither. So let's go over to Paramount. Paramount on the list, PARA, and they are down 3.9, 836,000. Again, another one that's very, very difficult to trade, very light on volume. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this one. And then the last two, Tablespoon, TBLT. I don't even know why I look at this because it's always garbage. And it's garbage today too. So there's nothing happening there. Looks pretty bad. Again, I think the fun happened here, a little bit here, and now we're just dead on this thing. So nothing to see there. And then let's look at Snow. Last on our list is Snow on the gap down list this morning, and we can see here this is Snowflake, guys. A very difficult stock to trade. Extremely light on volume. Again, not a big, not a nice list this morning, Peter, as far as we're looking at. So
No.
that is what we have. We're going to take it to the room. I'm not going to go over the usual suspects because I know you guys are going to throw it out, and I know Peter, you're going to be looking at AMD for sure, right?
For sure. I mean, look, it's still in play. Global news with Taiwan Semiconductor and of course Pelosi over in Taiwan. You know, that sort of got the semiconductor industry, you know, sort of on edge, which is why we're seeing some, you know, movement. I think in all the semiconductors. Obviously, as everybody knows by now, AMD is my favorite. I just find it moves well. But now, you know, it's got all sorts of competing factors between their numbers, which came out a couple of days ago, and the fact that they were just over $100 2 days ago, and of course this news out of Taiwan. So we'll see what happens with that whole sector. But AMD is the one I'm watching. Couple things I don't know if you mentioned, so pardon me if I'm repeating stuff. I see you've got Lucid. They had earnings last night. I see you got that on there. A little bit of a concern that they missed their numbers and reduced their guidance. It looks like you covered that. eBay also had earnings. I don't get it, but apparently people are still using eBay, and they beat their numbers top and bottom line. And Bubba, I see you've got there, and MGM would be the only other one. They don't typically trade well pre-market at all, and you know, like this morning, I think we've got, I don't know what do we got this morning? I haven't even looked it up. 50,000 shares.
Yeah,
yeah,
nothing,
but they are
yeah.
a NYSE stock. NYSE stocks typically don't have a lot of volume, or often will not. So, but they did have earnings. They missed their numbers, it looks like, but they are up a little bit. So. Maybe there's some other news behind that, but those are the only other things you might want to consider for this morning.
Yeah. All right, guys. So taking a look here, it's a couple that we were looking at. Yeah, eBay. It's funny. So eBay, you're absolutely right. I don't know who still uses them. Although when I speak to people that do work on their own cars, eBay's like a big thing for them. Like they're able to find rare things on eBay that they won't find on Amazon.
Yeah, and their ads have been recently targeting that type of market, right?
That is all,
yeah.
Yeah.
Part resale, and not just consumer use, right? For commercial use. I mean,
yeah.
You know, thinking back, I've mentioned this before, but you know, when I worked for Nortel, my God, that was almost 2 decades ago. You know, we were using eBay to try and source parts for servers that we couldn't get elsewhere. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that they've got a market, and I guess it's still working for them. Say, hey, look, you know, all I care about is, do they trade well? And typically eBay does not. So maybe with these earnings, something nice will happen, but so far it's not looking great.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all, guys. Even when they get a nice move here, they're just a pretty bad intraday trading stock. So we had a question over by Frederick. He was asking, what does low flow mean? Does it mean high price action with low volume? And actually, no, a low flow, it's not that. The ones that we have today, unfortunately, do not have any great volume, but low flows are usually stocks that have a lower flow. So that means they can turn the number of shares that are tradable a lot faster. So their volatility is extremely high.
Right.
As far as what the volume is, doesn't really matter. So I'll give you an example. Like example, ENVB here. This is a low flow of 900,000 shares. If that's correct, it could be wrong. It could be inaccurate by a couple of thousand shares. But that's a very low flow. So that means that this thing can be very volatile, especially if you get the volume, it can move even more aggressive. But it doesn't have to do with the volume or not. The reason we don't like it with low volume is because it can still move very aggressive, and then you don't have the liquidity, or the spread could be very bad, right? So you want to have high volume when you're looking at a low flow stock, right? And an example of one, what's a good one?
This ENVB is a great example, everyone.
Yeah.
Just if you're new to it, not to just quickly then, because what Carlos said is absolutely right. And especially look at ENVB, 700,000 shares already traded pre-market on this, with what I agree. I see an 850,000 share float, so let's call it 900,000. The challenge and the reason why we say avoid them and they're risky is, imagine every share that's available for trade has almost traded hands so far this morning. Now, that's not true, because there's some people that are holding these in long-term portfolios or somewhere, which means that there's a much smaller pool of shares that are trading, but they're changing hands multiple times. And like Carlos said, that's what creates volatility. That's why we're much more cautious with them, as opposed to if you had, 100 million shares out there, you could trade 50 million shares and you're still not trading as big a percentage of the available shares, which means the volatility is correspondingly lower. So just think about that when you're trading.
Frederick says that response like low flow scares me. They should. They scare the heck out of me too, man. They are scary to trade. And what was the big one? Was it Tablespoon that dropped in like 5 minutes? I think it was Tablespoon. That in the pre-market, we had a drop of like $2 in a matter of seconds, right? So, and it was a small order. It was somebody dropped, I think it was like only 200,000 shares. So you got an order that goes in like that, man, you could be in a bad situation, even if you have a hard stop, right? It can gap down on you even with a hard stop. And that's the scary part, that even if you have a good number of shares, you could still get surprised and be in a bad situation. Advanced 2016 says, I still sell stuff on eBay. Haters. No, we're not hating, man. Good for you,
we're
man.
not haters. We're just apparently we're out of the loop, Carlos?
Wait, hey, listen,
we're just not in with the hip crowd.
We are getting to that older generation now, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe we're not hip no more, I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Who knew? It's like bell bottoms coming back in. I guess eBay's back in, and we're just not hip with the trend.
There you go, man. There you go. But with that said, guys, that is our list. Let's take it to the chat room. I see a lot of you guys mentioning JD. Let's look at that one. This morning, JD up 4.6. And they could be. Is this a sympathy play with Baba? Is that what it is? Right? Because I remember JD and Baba used to always trade very close. So Baba had earnings this morning, and they are crushing it right now. Looking at JD, I don't know if you will watch this one instead of Baba, right? I think Baba is the one to watch. I mean, they got decent volume, they're gapping up here, but I think the action is going to be on Baba this morning. Now, if you like the way JD trades opposed to Baba, that would be a good one to watch. But I love the way Baba trades. So for me, I won't think twice about looking at JD, because I think that's not where the action is going to be as it is this morning, right? So that's just my thoughts on it. Peter, your list. I know AMD's on your list. Anything else you like this morning?
Well, I keep watching Apple. Apple's been a great trader for the last few months, and I expect it to continue to have some good volume today. Amazon has been interesting. I haven't actually traded it, but I've been keeping an eye on it. And I think we have to just mention Tesla, right? None of these have any particular news.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Tesla's been jumping around and, up over 900. If you remember we were watching to see if it would go over 900. Well, it's solidly over that, and it's been playing around up there for the last few days. So, keep an eye on Tesla. With the news out of Lucid, will that have an effect? Probably not, but it's just always a good trader, especially if you like trading that stock or stocks in that sort of price range.
Yeah, guys, what we've seen lately is all these stocks that were high flying, doing very well, and took a hit. Around this is May, June, right? Then July, we kind of saw the things bottoming out. And if you look at the SPY, it's very apparent that they're kind of following the overall market. Yeah, here and there, they had their numbers and news that came out, and it drives them one way or the other. But for the most part, you look at the SPY, look at the Qs, and it's just everything that was down quite a bit is doing pretty well right now with the way this market has been. Tesla definitely in play, guys. The breakout here at 940 looks very, very good. So let's see how that's going to play out today. And I agree with you on Amazon. I mean, Amazon has been putting in some really good days. It seems like they get overshadowed, because when they're putting in some good stuff, you got Apple and you have AMD, like you had AMD yesterday, doing really well. And I think a lot of people just prefer to trade these instead of Amazon. I don't think we have seen Amazon do its own thing yet, right? whether
No.
as far as like it's doing its own, it's trading very well. It's just Amazon, nothing else. It's pretty much like an Amazon or AMD following the overall market. So still fun to watch. I agree with you 100%. All right, let's take it to the chat room, guys. See what we got going on here. Let's start with Michael. You're giving us food too. I haven't looked at this in a while. Michael, I know you like these breakouts here, right? So I know you like this daily breakouts, and this looks perfect for that at the moment. Needs more volume, and I know you understand. I know you're waiting for a possible breakout when it gets the volume. So yeah, this could definitely be on your list, especially if you're trading later when things come down in the market at the market open. This could be a good one to keep an eye on. So yeah, I agree with that. I won't add it to my list just because what I'll be looking for first, I don't think this would be hitting that criteria. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. We haven't had NVIDIA on our list in a while, actually. And I say a while, I said like a 2-3 days, right? Compared to like a AMD or an Apple. NVIDIA, oh, nice daily on NVIDIA, guys. Looking very good here. The last couple of days, again, doing very well. Yeah, I like the daily for a possible breakout. But you know, we got AMD, we got Apple with the same situation as well. But NVIDIA is good. NVIDIA definitely beats a lot of our other secondary stuff on here. The issue is, you know, if you're watching an AMD, if you're watching NVIDIA, if you're watching Tesla, you know, they're all probably going to do the exact same thing. So just pick your favorite out of those, and I think you'll be okay, unless there's something specific on one of these stickers, as far as catalyst or anything like that. So low volume but interesting. Netflix on the daily. Let's take a look. Netflix on the daily. Oh yeah, daily looks very nice, but the volume, you're right, the volume is definitely not in play right now. And it hasn't really rallied as much as the other stocks have done, right? So is Netflix at a good price now? Because if you look at this daily on Netflix, right, a lot of companies have been pushing higher and running here. They just stuck, right, Peter? They're just stuck here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You're
very interesting daily.
you need to change the batteries on your camera,
Oh,
apparently.
battery's gone. So interesting stuff there, man, as far as that. So,
Yeah, we interesting on that, but I'm not sure if it'll be in play today. I
yeah,
guess that's
yeah.
fine, Carlos. We're running too slow because we are running a little late here this morning.
We're having too much fun today. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's do this. Let's go ahead and go over to our community events and announcements. Just so much to watch today, guys. We probably won't get to everything. Let's do our announcements. We'll do our moderators lineup, and if we have a couple of minutes to check some more, we will do so. So with that said, let's get over here to our website, guys. Over at webinars at the top at bearbootraders.com, you can see the webinars coming up for the week.
Indeed. And look, I'll go through this fairly quickly, but first and biggest community announcement, I just got a note from Andrew. He's ready to go trade. He's in France, for those of you that have been following his adventures, doing a race there. He loves to travel the world and you know, sort of run whatever mountain he can find. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. So happy to have him back and trading with us this morning. So that'll be as of the opening bell or a few minutes before. But in our webinars, we had a great webinar last night with Dr. Reed, who once again shared his wisdom as an active trader and psychologist. He gives us a lot of great insight, and it was another great webinar. Mondays, if you're new in the room and you're looking to join us on one of our trial memberships, you got to pay attention to Mondays, because that's when you get our free onboarding webinar. That's at 8 o'clock every Monday. Tuesdays, we normally focus on strategy and trade book. This past week, we had a great one. Next week, we can look forward to Thor and talking about the components of a trading system. He's going to go through sort of his trading approach and the relative components of it. He is, you know, so fantastic at sharing his strategy, and I am always in awe of what he does, because his trading is probably the most consistent out of any one of us, and it's just I wish I could just deliver as consistent results as Thor does. I'm going to have the opportunity next week, Thursday the 16th, to talk about my lightning bolt pattern. We'll share a specific pattern. We'll get into all the details. I'll break it down so you can sort of understand it and figure out if that's something you might want to use for your own trading. Both of those are at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays. Wednesday, which is last night, as I mentioned, we had Psychology series. Dr. Reed was last night. Next week, we have Creta coming back to talk about putting the mental edge pieces together. That's an early time. Whenever Creta presents, it's always earlier than our normal time, so keep that in mind. Put it in your calendar. That's 5 o'clock, so that's 1 hour after the market closes. Creta will be with us. And then the week after, Wednesday the 17th, Randy Howell is going to be back with us talking about how to unlock your hidden potential. Thursdays, today, it's all about mentorship. This is where we get to focus in on your questions, really sort of dig in on the problems that have been troubling you throughout the week or stuff that you want help with. I think John's going to be doing his mentorship today. If not, maybe even Andrew, if he's got time, will jump in there. That's for our members. That'll be at 11 o'clock during market hours today. And then in the evening, we have Ed that shares his wisdom after the close. And then we always, on Thursday, have Thor's Day, when Thor spends an hour or more talking about your questions, answering anything that you've got. We always have great attendance and huge participation in that. So that's, our sort of lineup for the week. We always have lots of activities going on. Hopefully you will take advantage of that if you're an elite member. If not, consider becoming an elite member. And if you want to do so, you can do so right now with a 50% discount off our annual membership. So if you join as an elite annual member, you get 50% off using the code READ50. And on top of that, we'll give you a free one-on-one coaching session that Dr. Reed has kindly offered to all those that join. I know he's been very busy because there have been so many people that have taken him up on that offer, but he's still offering it. So probably not for much longer, I imagine, as he sort of gets through that backlog. But please use the code if you're considering joining. I know we had a couple people yesterday that were asking about it and said that they had joined. So welcome. If you're a new member, say hi in the chat room. If you're new to the Bearable Trading team, we love having you as part of the chat. And if you want to just try us out without making that big long-term commitment, we get it. That's why we offer that 1 week discount code. Just give it a try. See what the rooms are like. And I say rooms because we have 2 active chat rooms. Ed has his own room, Ed Martin, and that's a fantastic place to see a different trading style. It's a little slower. It's very thoughtful in terms of how he approaches the market. And then, of course, you got our regular trading room where we have moderators all day from the time the bell rings at the front end to the time it shuts it down at the back end. So join us. Use the code PreMarket24 to get a $24 discounted code off of that and so much more. All right, let's do some levels quickly before we hand it over to our team that'll take us into the open.
Oh, levels. Yes. I completely forgot about that. All right, guys.
Or no levels.
Very
We're
quickly.
a little out of time for levels.
Yeah, we are kind of out of time. Here's what we'll do. I'll stay on YouTube. I want Andrew to come on and try his system, make sure he can get on. His mic is all good to go. So we'll do that. And then I'll stay on YouTube and I'll do levels for YouTube here. And we'll do it that way. So this way we don't hold up Brian from getting his stuff ready with the community and then doing that. But before I do that, I will read out the moderators lineup for you guys on YouTube as well. So guys, over in the member chat, I'll see you guys in a bit. Levels are overrated anyway. Samer, I agree. You guys can you guys know how to do levels very, very well. My battery died, so I got Norm up here as my backup picture.
Are overrated, frankly. They are magical sometimes. When they work, it feels like a magic. It feels like magic. It really does. But
absolutely.
In any event, look at Norm with his little his king of low floats. Eh?
Absolutely. All right, so that's what we'll do, guys. I'll come back in chat in a second. I'm going to disconnect now. I'll let Brian come on and go from there.
There you go.
All right,
he's doing that. Hopefully, you can still hear me on YouTube. I will say, John in our chat room, John is trying to take over that title. Yesterday, he was busy trading a low float and did a good job at it too. He got a big $10 move on a stock, and I was very proud of him.
All right, good morning, everybody. How are you
competing?
Can you guys hear me?
Let me block Andrew's sound there. So Andrew's going in and chat and getting ready. Yeah, agree. So what do we have going on here? So let's do levels, guys, for over on YouTube as Andrew gets ready to go there. We have start with Baba. So starting with Baba, guys, high of the pre-market here, we're looking at 102.70. So 102.70, let's put a level there. And then towards the bottom, the low of the pre-market all the way down at 96 something. I mean, you got a lot going on. You got your highs and lows, and also from the last 2 trading days doing a pretty good job there. Then you got this nice kind of gap situation happening this morning. I will mark down towards the bottom 98.70. I think that's a good level there. And then if we look at above the pre-market high this morning, we do have 106.96, a good level to put on there as well. And then slightly above that in case we get running this morning, obviously 110.57. Again, I don't think we'll get there today. But this stock is moving very well and looking very good this morning. Towards the bottom, we have plenty, guys, highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. So BABA looking really good this morning. Here is AMC, guys. AMC, again, very active. I don't think this is going to continue to run, especially with the last couple of days we've had here. But we'll see. It is up 4%. 1943 is the high of the pre-market. Your low of your pre-market is sitting at 1850. So we'll slam 2 levels there. And then if we look to the left here, let's go ahead and take a look at 1 level towards the top on AMC in case we get going. Actually, we have one here already. 2052 and 2219 are 2 really good levels off the daily, just in case you want to see that going there. Then let's take a look over at Lucid this morning. And guys, before I forget, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. It does help out the channel quite a bit. Sitting at 182 likes. We'd love to be at 250, 300 is our goal throughout the morning here. Joe says Carlos needs to get that camera direct line power from Amazon. Well, obviously, I should be going to eBay. I think I should be going to eBay. So there is Peter moving his camera, I guess. All right, here we go. So that is Lucid there, guys. Lucid right now, looking at low of the pre-market, we're sitting at 1741. Then towards the bottom, we have 1637. And then below that, we have all the way down here, we have 1527. So plenty of stuff towards the bottom there. Let's see what these guys end up doing today. I mean, they had earnings last night. They got some really good volume, 3.2 million shares traded. Definitely in play. High of the pre-market 1827, and then above this we're looking at 19. So pretty good stuff there on Lucid this morning. I like this one today. I like this one today. It's very, very active. They're gapping down 11.5 on earnings. Is this an overreaction? Are we going to see some kind of movement here? Next we have DDOG, guys. But again, I think I'm going to remove this one from my main list. I'm going to put it down because we have Coin now, we have Apple, we have AMD, which are looking much better. And this stock, although it has some moves right now, it can be so choppy at times, guys. So be very careful with this one. Here's wow. Look at Coin. My goodness. I'm not even going to mark down the pre-market high because it just keeps going. So what do we have here? This is a big catalyst for them, guys. Being tied into, BlackRock is a big name in the business. And they're known for just being such a legit company. A firm that this is big for them, guys. This thing is going to be the ripper for today, up 16%, 2.4. You tie yourself to that name, and there's something good happening there for sure. So 89.11, I'm going to mark this down. Good level here off the daily as well. We can also mark this area down here. It's going to be what is this, 96? No, yep, 95.88, might be 96. Mark that down there as well. But this thing is on fire. Man, it's going to do all its entire move in the pre-market here, guys. It's getting so extended. Man, oh man. All right, AMD, guys. Levels for AMD, 97.50 is a good one. Towards the bottom, we got plenty highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So you're set on AMD, guys. You have everything you need here. Do not need to add anything else. Here is Apple, guys. Take a look at Apple this morning. We got highs and lows towards the bottom here between 162 and 158-ish. So that's good there. Low of the pre-market all the way at 165.33. We'll slam the level there. And then right up here, we do have 165. But the big one here is this previous day close line that we're trying to stay above. So hopefully we can do that. Big day for them yesterday, guys. Let's see if this is going to continue. We're slamming against the area of a lot of support and resistance right on here. So let's see how that is going to play out on Apple. If we're able to break out of that, we do have a very nice area, which is going to be here, 169. That's going to be good. And then right up here, 171 is also going to be nice as well. So yeah, looking very good there on Apple, guys. Like the way that is setting up. I think we're in for a really good day. You guys have an amazing morning. I will see you guys for the closing bell today at 3:30. We have a guest from Benzinga. He is one of the persons in charge of the news there, and he's going to talk to us about how the news works and some of the things that are involved with the stuff that they do. So don't miss it. It'll be a great conversation. Great guy. His name is Aaron, I forget his last name, Breed, I think, or Breed. I don't want to mispronounce his name, but a very, very good guy. He does a lot of YouTube videos for Benzinga as well. We'll love to see you guys there at 3:30 this afternoon. Take care, guys. Ben, nice to see you. Everyone, have an amazing day, and we will see you guys later today at 3:30. Have a good one.